Hi, this is Ruby's Garden, video number 2, going through the block of the month from Fawns and Porter. All the fabrics are from Paintbrush Studios and the kit is available, so be sure not to miss out. I am walking through every step with you. I'm Jenny K. Parks. If you want to know more about me, you can check out my website, jennykquilts.com. Last episode we talked about the pieced flower blocks, and today we're going to do the applique flower box. And I have got some good tricks for you. I love this method. This is my favorite one, making a window, but this is what we're going to make today. So let me show you how. All right. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your template, your pattern that's provided, and you're going to draw templates. Now, if you'll notice something about all my templates, they are labeled Ruby, B-O-M, and exactly what they are, right? And they're labeled because I'm a quilter and I lose things, but if I label it, I might find it again. So I like to put the label on it, so if you come across it, oh yeah, this goes right here. So they're nice and clearly labeled. I like to do this with a fine point Sharpie because I don't want to mess around. I want to see what I'm able to do and just take care of it. So I use clear template plastic. That's my preference. Some people like it with a grid. I prefer more clear or kind of just a little bit of a color to it. So if I want to do any fussy cutting or anything particular we're not doing large scale stuff here, but if I do want to do any fussy cutting, I can see right through it and line it up. And if it has a grid on it, I find that visually confusing with the curves. So that's why I use this particular kind of template plastic. All right, let me slide these off here. And I'm going to show you how to do this middle flower because the middle flower has some tricks to it. All right, so here I am. And this is the fusible I prefer to use. You may have one that you really like. Mine is Heat and Bond Light. That's my favorite. But you go with what is going to work best for you. And I have the paper side up, just, one of those things you want to remember when you're trying to do this late at night or something. I've got the paper side up, and I'm just going to draw around the whole thing. Whoop, I went off, I veered off the road there. Let's see, I'm just holding it nice and flat. I'm just going to do around. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Let me say, hold it. I got all excited. I got company here today, so I'm kind of nervous, I guess. Nice and careful. And don't move it too much. Don't move it at all. How about that? Don't move it at all when you're moving over here to your other side. And come back around, and voila. Now, the technique we're going to do with making a window with raw edge applique, we're going to encounter some issues. So I'm going to do 2 lines here that are going to help you out in the long run. There's one, there's the other. And these lines are going to be very beneficial for us in this part. And I'm showing you this part, making this part of the block completely. I'll fuse it all together and you'll see everything that I mean, but I'm showing you this because this one is a tricky one and I want you to be able to see. All right, so we're going to cut out, and you'll do this for each of the pieces that you're going to applique in here. We're going to cut out around the whole thing and leave about 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch around. The scissors that I'm using are really great for this in that they're slightly serrated. So it seems to me they have a little bit better gripping to them. Let me bunch this up here a little bit. They grip a little bit better than non-serrated scissors, and I find I get better results with that. But you do want to kind of, not use your really fancy cutting shears, and you want to use small scissors, right? There's a lot of little curves and details that we want to pay attention to. And big scissors are going to make it hard for you to get to those. And we don't want to make it hard. We want to make it easy. All right. Keep going around. And we don't cut out exactly on the line. When I make a whole bunch of these and line them all up, I don't put them right next to each other. I give myself a little space here in between, tracing out each of the designs on the heat and bond, because we need to leave these little windows, these little margins off to the side. That's what we want. A little closer. And you know what? Because this is fusible, if you accidentally make a snip into the wrong spot, you're going to be fine. Because when you fuse it, those two little things will fuse together as long as you don't lop it all the way off. Okay, so now we need to cut out this interior. So I fold it in half. Sorry, we're going back to elementary school, right? I fold it in half and I take a little snip right there. And I open it up. And then I'm going to cut out this inner circle. When you're figuring out which things to cut, and because we're going to window everything, we're going to leave a lot of big scraps, especially in the big circle that you have. And so my suggestion is trace out the larger ones first and work your way smaller, because you can use lots of little scraps as we go along. This around, and no, this does not have to be a perfect cut, because it's going to be on the inside. Nobody's going to see, right? It's none of their business anyways. Okay, so now, normally, if this is our whole shape, right, I'd just do the window panes on either side. So you have windowing there and windowing there. And I'll show you a better example once we're through with this one. I'll show you how it looks like on the other fabrics. But I have a problem here, and I've drawn these lines because what we need to do is we need to also cut out all of this interior here, but we need to do something to keep the center circle from flying off and getting our proportions wrong and everything like that. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to do it again, make a little snip. Oh, yeah. And then I'm going to continue to window pane on the other side. And those lines that I've drawn tell me, stop cutting here. Don't cut through here, honey. It's not going to work for you if you do it that way. But it'll hold my center so it's nice and secure. This is a good, a good handwork project. You just kind of set everything down on the table and do some nice relaxing handwork, which I find, I don't know, cutting and pasting or cutting and doing this, it's kind of fun. Usually we're doing just a lot of piecing, but this quilt features a lot of stuff to do with your hands, which is it's kind of a fun diversion. See? You cut it out just like so. And that's kind of the window painting effect. And see these little scraps here, that works, but there's going to be some little stuff maybe that you need later. So you can just save them for those if you want to. Or you can get rid of them, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, but you might want to save them. All right, so let me quickly cut out this side. And it doesn't take too long because everything doesn't have to be perfect and just right on. It's not like you have to measure exactly 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. You want approximate. You don't want to cut it too close. So the reason why I have the outer line, why I have fusible all the way out past where my edge is going to be, is so that it protects from any little flyaway threads. You get those little threads that pop up. This makes sure they are sealed down and they're not going anywhere. It gives you a much finer, cleaner edge, which is what we're going for. All right, almost back around to the beginning. Okay, now, let me just light that up, I could just tell. So here I have my fabric. Now, this may be one of the kind of duh things, but remember, press this onto the wrong side of your fabric. I was trying to work this out the other day, and I fused half of one circle onto the right side of my fabric. Bummer, bummer. Okay. You can also use a little applique iron. They make those little irons, which might be nice as you get to smaller pieces. This one should work just fine. So I'm going to fuse it down on this part here. Nice and slow, follow whatever the fusing, whatever the directions are for your fusible. And you might want to test it on a piece first, just to see if it's working all right, a little scrap. And I think we got it down. Woohoo! All right, now I'm going to cut it out. Again, this is one of those activities. I mean, you know, get yourself the Downton Abbey on Blu-ray or something and just sit down and watch it and enjoy watching it all. Now this is where I want to be a little more careful on my cuts and make nice little snips. And again, I really like these serrated scissors. If you haven't tried them, because you're just using not serrated scissors, you might give it a shot. They're really a lot of fun. And I think they really help me have much greater control with this. Take out the scraps, and I'll do that. I'll cut out the big scraps as I go along so they're not in my way. And you try to stick to the line as much as possible. But you know what? If you make a little mistake in there, or whoops, that one was a little cut short or something like that, you know what? All you've done for your quilt is you've created visual variety. You're just adding something a little different, right? Because nature's more like that. A little variety in there. It's all right. You don't have to cut it out and do it all over again. So when you're choosing the colors from this, again, go with variety. Mix and match. That's one of the perks about this quilt, is because it is designed to give you that scrappy kind of feel. Mix and match. So yours is going to be different than mine, and that's all right. That's awesome. Gives you a chance to kind of play with color a little bit and express yourself a little bit. Get around the corner. Whoop! Oh, look at that. It's a little up. It didn't get fused all the way. I'm going to fuse it again, because that happens. So when you're sewing this, if that happens, right, and you're sitting there at your machine sewing it, appliquing it on there, I would suggest, and I've done this plenty of times, have a little tube of glue stick right next to your machine, and then I'll just take a tiny bit of daub that down, because when I fuse it down in the final time, it's going to stay right there. It's going to be awesome. But that way, I don't have to pick up everything from my machine or make a knot or cut it off or anything like that. I can just go. And that's what I want to do. Well, okay, now the paper's peeling up, but the fusible's down. That's all right. I'm going to just cut that curve. It's going to be beautiful. This one, like I said, it's the most complicated of the pieces for our applique flower block. It's the most complicated patch. So I wanted to make sure you saw it. And I don't cut down that line in there into the petals. That'd be bad. All right, we're almost there, but I need the middle out. So I got to go in and get the middle. Take a little snip. And I'm going to cut right on that line. And it's going to leave you a little fusible oval that you can use for something else. It's already fused and ready to go. It's fun to find scraps like that. Throw it in there someplace. And you'll have a few of them from making all these blocks, right? Okay. And the paper is peeling off, but that is all right. I can see as I look that the fusible is attached, and that is just what I want. Okay, so there's that piece there. Now I've already done these, and you can see how there's no line or anything like that attaching it, because there was no center to be removed and worry about. So you can see just how I've done that. Now, as far as placement goes, I have folded this block in half and pressed it. I didn't press it, like I don't want it ever to move again, but I just pressed it to give me guidelines so that I make sure I'm pretty centered. And we're going to take that big block, and let me peel the paper off. We'll place it all, and then you can press it all at once. Oop. Now the paper's being stubborn. It's coming off before, now it doesn't want to come off now. Okay. All right, so I'm kind of going to center it as best I can. And notice these flowers, they aren't exactly symmetrical, and that's fine. Then this would be the next one in the center. Okay, I'm going to put it right in the center, and I can kind of visually look from these lines in there that I want to make sure I'm not too far up or too far down or over or anything like that. I want to try to center it as best I can, and that is looking pretty good. All right, now we have our little center. And we're going to put that in the oval. Let's kind of move it around. It's slightly, the center is slightly, it's not exactly symmetrical. It's not exactly symmetrical, so you kind of play with it till you get it in a nice place that you like it. Then we're going to put our leaves on. And then we're going to put one kind of in each corner, or you can group them together. Like if you want to do something like this, you sure can. I think I'm going to go with one in each corner. And two more. We're almost done. Yay. So then after I get this all pressed, let's see, I want the points to point out to each corner. I like that better. Okay. After you get this all pressed and then you take it to your machine, you have a couple options. One, I did a lot of the stuff, and what you'll see throughout this series is I sewed it on with clear monofilament thread. And I really like that because, one, it doesn't have to be so precise, and you could blend with a whole bunch of different colors. But, you know, by all means, you could do just a little zigzag with matching the colors exactly if you want to. You could do a simple applique stitch, whatever you want to do with that. The creativity is open to you. You could use a variegated, like a blue variegated or something. You could do that. You could have a lot of fun with that one. All right, let me slide this over, and I'll fuse it down. Whoop. Slide over carefully. And I'll fuse it down, and then it'll be ready to go. Whoop. Always worth double checking. All right, I think we're good. So you just hold it down according to manufacturer's directions about what you're going to need to go at, about as long as you need to. And you do want to stick to an up and down motion and not slide anything. You certainly don't want to slide anything off of there. Another thing to consider too is you might want to test the heat of your iron and fusing something on this cream fabric. Because if your iron scorches and it scorches this cream fabric, you, my friend, are out of luck. So you might want to test that. You might want to use a pressing cloth, whatever you need to keep that kind of scorching from happening. And a pressing cloth is just a simple muslin sheet, I'll show you some later, that just go over the top. Very complex and complicated there. All right, well, it's not quite all the way pressed down, but I think we are good to go. You get the idea of how this is going to go together. Cute little block. And the window pane technique you can use through whatever kind of applique that you're going to do. It is my favorite method by far. So next time, in video 3, we are going to cover the string piece border, and this is a lot of fun. It is a great scrappy border. Lots of things that you could do with it. I had so much fun making these. So I hope you're going to enjoy it too, and please join me next time. I'll see you there. This lesson of Ruby's Garden Block of the Month is brought to you by Paintbrush Studios, fabrics for your masterpiece.